Imagine if you could increase your intelligence just like you increase your stats in a video game. That's right, we're back with another episode in the series about boosting your stats in real life. In this video, we're going to cover strategies that you can use to make yourself smarter and increase your real life intelligence stat. So, if you want to have all the tools you need to get the most out of your mind, watch this video right to the end. So first, I think it's important to break down intelligence and talk about what it actually means. Merriam-Webster gives intelligence two separate definitions. The first, the ability to learn or understand or to deal with new or trying situations. And the second, the ability to apply knowledge to manipulate one's environment or to think abstractly. Now, the fact that it has two definitions probably doesn't help much in terms of trying to understand and break intelligence down. But these two definitions actually make a lot of sense. In 1963, American psychologist Raymond Cattell theorized that intelligence can be broken down into two different forms: fluid intelligence and crystallized intelligence. Fluid intelligence refers to a person's ability to reason and think abstractly, independently of acquired knowledge. Much like IQ, it's considered to be fixed, with there being little you can do to improve it, which totally clashes with the promise I made to you at the start of this video. But don't worry, let's move on to crystallized intelligence and it will all begin to make sense. Crystallized intelligence refers to a person's ability to acquire knowledge and use it appropriately. Unlike fluid intelligence, this is limited only by your ability to learn, and this is very appropriate in video game terms, where intelligence often indicates your ability to improve and use increasingly powerful spells and abilities. To make this clearer, let's use an example. When we picture a genius on TV, like Sherlock Holmes, we're thinking of fluid intelligence. We're seeing someone who just naturally sees and understands things that would soar right over our heads. Or that kid in math class who could solve problems easily with very little work. Crystallized intelligence is when somebody has to work and learn in order to gain that understanding. They don't have a natural gift for math, but they put in hours and hours of study and built up their skills until they could solve equations that other people can't. These two types of intelligence perfectly match the definitions we saw before and can be summarized by innate versus learned, which brings us to the point of this video. When trying to improve our intelligence, typically we need to focus on improving our crystallized half. That means gaining experience and knowledge in specific areas and then working until we no longer have to think about it. So, let's move on to the fun part and look at some strategies. Some of them will focus on improving your crystallized intelligence as we've discussed, but there are also some which focus on making sure your brain and mind are functioning at their maximum. Both kinds are important if you want to become as smart as possible. Strategy 1. Reading. Specifically, reading to learn more about a specific topic. As you'd expect, this is targeted towards improving your crystallized intelligence. They say that reading just 3 books in a specific field will make you an expert in that field. And while it may not qualify you to start performing surgery or building rockets, there's a grain of truth to it. 3 books is enough to give you a foundational understanding of pretty much any topic. And it's definitely enough to make you more intelligent in that particular area than 99% of people. And if you're not a reader, don't worry, because books certainly aren't the only way to improve your crystallized intelligence. After all, it's really just about learning and building knowledge. Plenty of other mediums will perform a similar purpose, such as podcasts or online courses. Strategy 2. Meditation. I know the self-improvement industry tosses meditation around like it's the key to immortality, but that should show you just how valuable it actually is. And yes, meditation can help you become smarter as well, although somewhat indirectly. Consistent meditation practitioners experience higher levels of mental clarity, self-awareness, and calm. And all of these are things that can help you perform at your best mentally. The benefits of mental clarity are clear: sharper cognitive processes and less brain fog. You can make logical deductions faster and don't have trouble remembering words or events. But the calmness and self-awareness is a little different. These allow you to observe your own thoughts and prevent dangerous or hindering patterns from taking over. Ultimately, it can prevent you from getting emotional and allow you to avoid routines and think outside the box. So, for those of you who are interested in getting into meditation, I recommend a specific kind: mindfulness meditation. It's extremely simple and you can find a great guide here. I'll also include a link in the description. Strategy 3. puzzles. Yep, you can even get smarter while you play games. Solving puzzles, riddles, brain teasers, and so on are all great for improving a variety of cognitive skills. The jury's still out on whether or not puzzles and games that incorporate them can actually improve your fluid intelligence, but there's no question that you can learn as you go and gradually improve your ability to think outside the box and solve problems. Personally, I'm a huge fan of escape rooms. On one hand, you get to have an awesome experience with some friends, but they're also great at forcing you to adapt, think creatively, and work under pressure. Not to mention it's a great learning environment because the novelty has dopamine and other neurochemicals shooting off in your brain like fireworks. One thing I will say is that although simple logic puzzles like Sudoku are fine, I wouldn't put too much emphasis on them. The strict set of rules and lack of creative solutions involved typically mean that beyond a certain point, you're only improving your crystallized knowledge in that one area. Or in other words, you're only getting smarter when solving Sudoku. Strategy 4. Optimize your diet for brain health. Yep, you can get smarter by eating the right foods too. In fact, most people don't realize how much of an impact your diet can have on your brain and how well it functions on a day-to-day basis. Eating the right foods can dramatically improve your cognitive abilities, and eating the wrong foods can hinder them. When choosing what you're going to put into your body, always keep in mind that your brain needs plenty of vitamins, minerals, and healthy fats. Some common recommendations are fish, because it's extremely high in omega-3 fatty acids, which most people simply don't have enough of in their diet. Eggs, nuts, and avocado, because they're all great sources of healthy fats. Blueberries, because they're an amazing source of antioxidants. And green leafy vegetables, because they are packed full of nutrients. You don't need to have all of these, but the more the better. Strategy 5. Optimize your sleep. Some of these probably aren't what you expected for a video on improving intelligence, right? Especially not where video games are concerned. Most of us have sacrificed sleep to keep playing games, and the characters in our favourite worlds never sleep, unless it's to level up or pass some time. Most people don't get enough high quality sleep, and gamers are especially guilty of this, and it's almost certainly impacting your intelligence more than you think. The research shows that minor sleep deprivation can have negative effects on your ability to focus and your working memory. And as you get even less sleep, more cognitive impairment follows. Depending on your stance, this could either be comforting or shocking. After all, many of us love our sleep, but Western culture is constantly trying to convince us that sleeping is a waste of time and unproductive. Science says otherwise. Sleeping for 6 hours instead of 7 could very well lower the quality of your thinking while you're awake, or mean that you can't focus and lose an hour of productivity anyway. Some of you will already have healthy sleeping habits, but for those of you who don't, this could be a game changer that spreads into all areas of your life, beyond just intelligence and thinking. So aim to get around 8 hours of sleep minimum. It can vary from person to person, but 8 to 9 should almost definitely be enough to have you operating at your peak capacity. You should also make sure your sleep is high quality by keeping your room dark and cool, as well as avoiding screen time or bright lights in the period before bed. Strategy 6. Get daily exercise. Nope, this isn't a mistake. I didn't accidentally pull this from a video on boosting your strength stat. Getting regular exercise doesn't just help you improve your body, it helps your brain function at a higher level and dramatically improves your mood and motivation levels. In general, you'll feel smarter and happier if you have consistent exercise in your routine. Plus, if you work at it enough, you'll get to run around with infinite stamina and lift cars off babies, just like your favourite video game protagonists. So, make sure you're getting some exercise each day. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but you should aim to get your muscles working and your heart and lungs pumping. Strategy 7. Practice asking the right questions. This is something that I've covered before in my video on luck, but simply put, the questions we ask determine the answers we receive. The human brain is incredible at pursuing what we focus on, but it can only help you if you're focusing on the right things. If you're asking the wrong questions or the same questions over and over again, you'll never get the right answer. For example, if every time something bad happens to you, you ask, "Why me?" then that's not the right question. On one hand, it's not focused on finding solutions, and on the other, you're asking it over and over again so you'll never get anything new. Instead, you could try asking something more empowering or specific, like, "Why didn't I perform my best today?" Or, "Was there something I could have done differently?" Or, "What can I do to make sure this doesn't happen again next time?" These questions are all specific, empowering, and most likely haven't been asked before. Getting into the habit of asking questions like these gets your brain to focus on finding specific, useful, and empowering answers. And this is probably exactly how you approach problems in games. You're solution-oriented. You don't go through the same pointless loops. Bring that into the real world, and you'll find your brain coming up with solutions or ideas that you've never come up with before. You'll shock yourself with your own intelligence. So, which of these strategies are you excited to implement? Let me know in the comments. There are still a few more stats to cover in this series, like strength, wisdom, and willpower, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you catch each new release. And until next time, live awesome.